Welcome to this episode of the SwimSwam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges, and joining us, we have got NCAA champion for the Texas Longhorns and newly crowned U23 champion in the 200 fly. Today, we're sitting down with Emma Sticklen. Emma, how's it going?
What's up, Coleman? How are you?
I'm doing well, just trying to stay cool in this Austin heat that we are both, surviving through, I assume. How are you handling the heat? You guys don't have to swim outside, do you?
We do have to swim outside since they just drained the pool at the TSC to clean it and change the bulkheads. We have been swimming outside for like the past month and leading up to the meet in Ireland as well. And I have to say, coming back from Ireland weather to this has been not the most fun, but this is my home, so.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm about to leave for a couple weeks, and I'm really excited to get out of it for a while, but I'll be really excited to come back in a couple weeks when hopefully it cools off a little. And like you said, it's home. It's Austin's a great place to be. So you brought it up. You went to this U23 meet. It was the inaugural edition of this meet. I want to talk about that, but first I'm kind of amazed that you went to U.S. trials and then you went to the U.S. Pro Championships in Irvine, and then you went to the U23 meet. Now, obviously, at trials, maybe you didn't have an idea that you were going to at least one of those meets, but how'd you manage all that?
That's a good question, because that is a very long season. Now I'm like getting my break right now, and I'm like, wow, it's over. But yeah, like at trials, I was so excited for trials. I'm sure everyone else was as well. And my main goal for trials was literally just to make it on a team somewhere. And that's kind of like what Carol, Mitch, and I talked about. Like, we could talk more about this, but like, I've never made a team before in my swimming career, never made a junior team, never made a national team, any sort of travel team like that. And so like, when I was like, oh, I want to make Pan Ams, I want to make this and all this stuff. And Mitch and Carol, like, they didn't like stop me or anything. They were just like, yes, like, let's go somewhere this summer. And I was like, okay, that's a good goal. Like, keeps like pressure off to do something like I've never done before, but also like if I get to go somewhere, like that's great. So like just kind of had that mindset going into trials, and it worked out. Swam a 200 fly on my 21st birthday. That was great.
How many people can say that?
How many people get to say that? Not a lot. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's your 21st. Like, I'm sorry you're here. And I'm like, no, like this is where I want to be. There's time to be 21 later,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trials, you 200 fly is the first day, which how do you feel about that? Like having that main event that you have the best shot of making one of those teams in right out of the gate.
It's a lot. Honestly, like you could put the meet in any order because you have NCs with 2 fly being on the last day, and then you have this meet with 2 fly being on the first day. So I feel like people ask me, oh, like which one do you like better? And I'm like, no comment, because like it's like I like don't want to say one's better than the other, because like you have to be able to roll like with whatever the order is, with whatever's happening. I will say though, like in prelims though, like with the first race of the meet, you're like, I really don't know what to expect. Like, what to expect. You have goals, of course, but you're like, you just got to get the first one out, to see what's going to happen. But I think I remember going 2:08:06 in the morning. After that, I was like, okay, we're good. Like, you're good. Um, and yeah, just had a lot of fun racing that at night. And yeah.
So then, going into the rest of the trials meet, how are you feeling knowing kind of where you stand in that two fly and again in that team qualification process?
Like knowing where I stand, like on the US ranking of
Yeah.
things.
Did that take some of the pressure off of the rest of the meet? Were you happy with how the rest of the meet went for you?
Oh, okay, yeah. I was happy with how the rest of the meet went. 50 fly, swim 50 fly. I don't remember if that was before 100. I think it was. Yeah, and that's always been kind of like a fun event for me. It's very different from the 200, and I can definitely say I have not figured it all out yet in the 50, but just really sets me up good for the 100. Working on some things there, and then yeah, I remember the 100 fly. Um, not I'm still figuring it out. I would definitely say that I cracked the code on the 100 fly like just recently, like learning how to like not just sprint the whole thing basically and like following a plan and like sticking to my plan. And I remember prelims 100 fly was really nervous because I'm pretty confident about 200 fly finals, but I was like pretty nervous in the morning. Um, Made B final on the way back. That night, and that night I was able to race pretty like more freely, having already like made finals. Like, okay, it's not A, I'm in B. Like, here's what we got. And so yeah, I was pretty happy with trials. And then like with qualifying for the LEN team, I didn't really know about it until like a couple of weeks after because they had to like I'm not really. That's the other thing. Like I know how the selection process worked for a little bit for Pan Am's and of course Worlds, but like I try to keep myself like in the dark with the qualification stuff because I didn't want to like overthink it too much and be like, oh, I have to be like do this and go this. Just kind of like yeah, it keeps me calm to sometimes not know.
Totally. Well, especially with with so many teams being chosen, and you'd have to go through like, oh, who's eligible for this, and
Yeah.
USA Swimming's priority, but then you start assuming like, well, if they decline this team, and yeah, anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
I totally hear you. I would just want to be like, all right, if I get an invite, I get an invite.
Yeah.
So you didn't find out until a couple weeks later. So I'm guessing at that point you had already made plans to go to that U.S. Pro Championships in Irvine, which was that the
Yes.
plan even before trials?
Yeah, that was the plan before trials to go to Irvine. But we made like an Irvine plan, like rest taper wise, and then I don't remember, but I think I got chosen for the LEN team, and we were able to make a pretty quick like shift to like make Irvine not as like restful taper, I guess, as we wanted it to be for Ireland. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was like going to like move forward, Ireland or not, like being happy with the season. I think that's something that I've learned to do like since I've been in college. Just kind of like if you don't get something, don't get something that you want, like there's a reason for that, and then like there's also something that you can have instead. Like I was like, oh, if I don't get to Ireland, I could have a break in August. But it's like, oh, I made Ireland. Like I'm still gonna get a break, but I get to represent the U.S. for the first time. Um, but yeah, so with Irvine, going to Irvine, yeah, that was really fun. Honestly, the group that we had going to Irvine was just so fun. And me and my team, we love going to California. We think it's so fun. We're like, we get to have Phil's coffee every morning. This is awesome.
Went to
Like,
Phil's every morning. That's the real highlight.
the real highlight is door dashing Phil's every morning. It was like $20. We don't talk about
Yeah, it
my mom.
was.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to keep Irvine fun and light and put together. I was still really focusing on like my race plan and like perfecting that there and not worried too much about time. Of course, I'm always worried about time, but that's okay. But yeah, I was pretty happy there. I think 2:08.9 at night. I was like, okay, we're in a good spot, like going into Ireland. And then also win a best time in the 100 fly. I think by 0.3, which was really amazing. And that's why what I said earlier, I think I cracked the code on that. So that was awesome too.
Irvine is my favorite place to go to for a swim
Right?
meet. It's the best, especially in August, when it's or late July, when it's like kind of hot wherever you are, specifically Texas. And it's like, man, I want to just go to the beach and be where it's like comfortable and 80 degrees. And
yeah.
there's,
I want to say that like, if it was anywhere else, like inside, it might have been a really hard meet to get through. But we just had like we're chilling in like those tents in our fold out chairs, and Mitch was like, "Guys, look at this. This is the life. You're always gonna remember this." I was like, "You're so right."
That's great. Yeah. So you go to this US Pro Championships. You're kind of like, okay, I'm in a good spot for Ireland. And then what was the turnaround for that? Was that like 2 weeks? I'm guessing, did you have like a week between going back from Irvine and going to Ireland?
Yes. So I got back to Austin from Irvine. Saying Irvine in Ireland is really, I'm trying to say the right ones. Yes, had a week back in Austin and then flew to Ireland that Monday. And so, yeah, when Mitch and I made my little plan thing, it was 2 weeks, but like the first week in Austin and the second week in Ireland because the meet started on Friday. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so then one unique thing about this meet was that the U.S. sent a relatively small team compared to a lot of the other teams you'll see at a Pan Am's or a World Champs or a World University Games. And so, it being your first team, as you said, travel team, you don't have anything to compare it off of, but what can you tell me about the dynamic just of getting to spend time with the team, getting to train with the team a little bit before the meet started, and then obviously moving through the meet, which was just 3 days, with that, small US core?
Yeah, the dynamic was so fun. I loved the smallness of the team. I think it was great, especially like for my first one, like just really small, like not overwhelming, and like got to know everybody's names like on the first day. And like I remember we had like a team meeting the night before the meet, and I was looking around, I was like, was everyone here? Oh yeah, there's 14 of us. And so yeah, like I got to know the girls really well, and that was really great. The dynamic like during the meet was interesting because like there was like not a lot of us, but everybody's was doing great and like swimming so well. So they had like the what's it called, the little meet lineup, like with what time everybody was swimming and like the team area, and like everyone, there was no one in the team area like the whole time because everybody was just out like warming up, being in the ready room or like cheering, and since it was only 3 days, there wasn't like a lot of time to like have an off day or something like that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then with Lee, Yuri, and Arthur being the coaches, that was also so fun too. Like I got to feel like what like Mitch says the magic sauce of Team USA is that like you get to like go make new relationships with different coaches and like learn from other people watching you swim and get a new set of eyes and like bring to the table like what you have as well. And so that was really fun too. I like that.
I was just talking with Jack Alexi from Cal about this, this was his first World Championships experience, and getting to interact with other coaches and see how other athletes, prepare for their racing and see how other coaches do things, get their athletes ready. Was there any one athlete or coach that just stood out to you in one way or the other, or something that they did that you really liked or picked up on, or just thought was funny or stood out?
Yeah, I definitely have to say, Lea stood out to me so much. Lea was my main coach. Yeah, so they divided everybody up, and they put her with me, and I was like, got to know her for like a day, and I was like, oh, I know why they put us together. Like, you're exactly like Carol. Not exactly. They're definitely different. But like in a lot of ways, I was like, this is hilarious and it's great. And the meet wasn't very long, but there was some moments where I was getting coached up by like Lea and of course like Arthur and Yuri at some points too. But it's just really great. Like something I didn't really know was like so awesome before I came to college was like the female interaction that you get to have. Like I get to have like at Texas with Carol, and like on this trip with Lea was just really amazing because it's like something special about it when they've been in your shoes too, like as a female athlete, and like struggles they go through and whatnot. And it's really interesting to hear Lea talk about, like, she's like, oh yeah, made my first Olympic team, never won a national championship before that or anything. I was like, that's great. Love that. Love to hear that.
Yeah, that's super cool. I remember when we were interviewing, I did a talk with Lea after Caitlin had won her NCAA title, and she was saying like, I was just willing her to the wall. Like I was just like, you're gonna get there, you're gonna get first, and I was like, all right, I like this woman. Like she's great. Yeah. I can vibe with her.
Oh, yes.
That's
yeah. I really need to share this story now that I just thought of it. Someone's gonna be mad at me, but it's fine, and it's gonna go on the internet, but it should be because it's so funny. So like there's communication between like your home coach and like the coach on the trip, of course, and so Mitch was kind of texting or emailing me like some things to look for, like what I'm saying, like keep her feet down when she's doing fly, her feet don't fly up, all that kind of stuff. I think he texted her or something, and he was like, oh, make sure Emma stays light and fun. Like, tell her that she has dirty undies. And so, like, meaning dirty underwaters, as most of us would know.
As swimmers know.
As swimmers know. And I love to hear that. It's my favorite compliment. Emma, your undies are dirty. I'm like, yeah, they are. So, Lea comes up to me, I think before the 100 fly thing, and she goes, Mitch told me to tell you that you have dirty underwear. It's like, oh my gosh, dirty undies, like dirty underwaters. And she was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah, but that was definitely one of my favorite moments of the trip.
That's sensational. Oh, dirty underwear. All right. So moving on. So the swimming part of the swimming part. What did anything stand out to you? It's kind of interesting because looking at these three meets, your times in your 100 and 200 fly are really not far from each other. Like at trials, you were 208.2. At US Pro Champs, you were 208.9. Yeah. U23, you're 208.5. In the 100, you were 58 mid, 58.1, 58.7. At those three, it's like it's kind of all similar. But I'm curious what stood out to you about like the competing and racing at this international stage in a new country.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I talked to Mitch for a second while I was there, and I was like, or maybe it was Carol, I don't remember. I was like, they sent us to Mare Nostrum last summer in May. Texas did, and I was like so grateful for that. Of course, when that happened, but even more grateful for it now because I feel like I got a little bit of international experience before this one. It wasn't representing the US, but like still like some experience. I mean, it was awesome. Like, and I feel like that really helped me with this meet. Like, which it's always like the little things. Like, it's still a swim meet. Like, you know how to swim, you know how to race, all of that. But it's like getting into the ready room like 30 minutes before you swim, or like I don't know, whatever other little rules that they have. But yeah, um, going back to what you said about my times being really consistent this summer, like um, I expected to go like a little faster in the 200 fly over there in Ireland, but like I took a step back and I was like, I raced on a different stage I've never raced on before. Um, Dealt with like kind of a new pressure that comes with having your name on your cap. That was crazy. um, and things like that. And then like um yeah, just coming off a really long season and like I was like, oh man, I could get down on myself about like going a 208 again, but I honestly was really happy with the consistency of the summer. Like um Mitch and I are really big on like those tempo graphs and we look at those a lot. Um and so like from the beginning of the season, we went to like oh yeah, we did Westmont Pro Series and then went to like the Martha McKee invite in Charlotte. And we just really like paid attention to like my tempo and like my splits and all that kind of stuff and like kind of put together like the race that I wanted to. And then like looking at like the graphs and all of the like little bits and pieces of the last race that I had, like it was the best I had ever executed a 200 fly, like ever, like tempo wise. Um, like I used my energy in all the places that I wanted to. And so like I was like, dang, like time's still like darn. But I also think about how far I have come in such a short amount of time in the 200 and long course and in the 200 fly. I went 208 for the first time in May last year, which
Wow.
is
Yeah.
so hard to believe. So every time I get upset, I just feel like that's something I've gotten really good at is like, remember where you were last year? Remember where you were 2 years ago? Because like it's all happened so fast and it's really easy to get caught up in comparing myself and, everyone else and whatnot. But yeah, I just really like appreciated every step of the journey and like consistency is great and I'm glad I didn't add. So like, yeah.
Absolutely. I think those are important things to remember, and it's refreshing to hear you say that. Because I think a lot of athletes in your shoes, it would be easy for them to get down on themselves if they're not going a best time every time or not swimming the perfect race, even though it seems like you did swim the best race that you had from a technical perspective in Ireland. So also just getting to compete all three of those days, do you think that was a benefit for you, just getting so many race reps in, not only at all three meets, but especially in Ireland, getting to swim the 100, the 50, and the 200?
Oh yeah, that was something that I really liked about this meet. I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know again, like with the selection, I I'm not really sure how they did it, but I don't know if I just got selected for the two fly, but if I did, like being able to swim the 150 was also like really great too. Um, yeah, the 100 was really fun as well. I will say I did have a freak accident in the 100 fly finals. I finished with my face.
Oh
The other
no.
thing,
What
oh,
happened?
The thing
Was that
is,
intentional? Was that something you're trying out?
yes, actually, I'm working on perfecting that. So I'll let everyone know when I've got it down. But yeah, something else that's different about international pools is you should pay attention to the little extra lines there on the bottom. Um, yeah, that was a side note, but you're warming up, you're like, yeah, I know how to finish. Yeah, I know how to flip turn. I'm not gonna pay attention. And then hits you when you least expect it. But yeah, that it was really great being able to race all of the days too. Race 50 fly. Again, I was like going to give it my all here, but the Europeans, they're bosses at 50 stroke. So, yeah,
Yeah, they really are. there there
yeah,
were some really strong showings in those 50s of stroke, which is cool to see. And I certainly learned some new names over the course of those 3 days too. Just tuning in, I love that that they were just streaming it on YouTube, so we were able to watch it here, and I could just throw it up on my TV and kick back. But yeah, definitely got some new names of people who I'm like, never heard of them before, but that's pretty fast.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about your summer and the strides you've made at all three of those meets. Yeah, and you're coming off of a very successful NCAA season where you won a title in the two fly. You went a lot of best times. You were kind of a surprise A finalist in that 200 IM. You broke 50 seconds for the first time in the 100 fly. Can you talk about, how did you feel heading into this long course season, knowing all of those strides that you had made just this past short course season?
Yeah, sure. Heading into this long course season, I was very fired up, to say the least. I was like, I've improved so much, made a lot of big jumps, and I was like really excited for trials and to see what was going on. But yeah, this college season was crazy and it was amazing. And yeah, a lot to unpack there. Anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about just the daily environment that the UT women provide. Right.
That's a
I
good
mean,
one.
I think we've talked about this before, but let's start with your teammates. It seems like in every A final now in the US, it's you, it's Kelly Pash, and it's Dakota Luther in the tuner fly, right? I mean, we've seen. At this point, it's just like that's how it's going to be. Like, there's going to be three Texas Longhorn women in the tuner fly A final.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you just obviously you've been with Kelly now for a couple of years, but adding Dakota, did that kind of change the dynamic in practice on a day-to-day basis for you?
Um, Dynamic wise, it was so great adding Dakota. Um, yeah, first I remember like coming to Texas and just being like, I wanted to get better so badly, and I was like, I'm gonna race Kelly and fly. I'm gonna race Olivia Bray and fly, and it was awesome and great. And like, um, yeah, there's so many practices I just get my butt handed to me in the past, and honestly, it's still like Mitch and I were just talking about that, like where on any given day in practice with us, like me, Kelly, Dakota, Olivia sometimes joins us in fly now. She, you know, it's like on any given day, like someone's gonna win a set or someone's not gonna win a set, and like, we're all so competitive in like a healthy way, and like we all love to race, and I feel like it's important, like again, like take a step back after practice. If it wasn't my day at two fly practice, I'm like, hey, I am racing two of the fastest girls in the world in the tuner fly, and I get to train with them, and they get to make me better, and I make them better. It's like amazing, and yeah. Oh, back to what you said about having three flyers in the all the A finals. It's so much fun. I think I don't. I'm not gonna name drop. Who said this? No, maybe someone was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys all made finals," and it was like maybe it was at Irvine or at trials, and I was like, "Yeah, welcome, welcome to the show. This is us," you know. But yeah, something really special about getting up there with not one of your teammates, but two of them, and like just like you want to do good for yourself, but like when they do good, you're also like so stoked for them. Like Dakota's 206 at Irvine was so special and so great, and like I know she's been like working on that for a long time, and like of course like I see that, like I want that for myself, like I want to go that's awesome. But like, you know, back to like what we are talking about with going so many 208s like this year, something like Dakota like did a lot too. It was like you go so many 208s, so many 207s, like just like consistently, and then like one day you wake up, you have like a huge breakthrough like that. So it's really inspiring too.
Yeah, that's when you were talking about that, that's kind of what was going on in my mind. It's like you go from going 208 for the first time last summer to doing it, you know, somewhere between 3 and 6 times this summer. It's like it's just kind of like money in the bank, right? It's like teaching your body, okay, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and then, you know, eventually you're gonna get to that next level where you go a 2-0 something that's new for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, and cool that you get to get that wisdom from a 200 fly veteran. Definitely been around the block in that event. And then in terms of just coaching, how do you feel like Mitch and or Carol have fostered that environment specifically this year? Because you know, the Texas women were second at NCAA's last year. They're second at NCAA's this year. It felt a little different this year, though. I know we put out an article that was maybe a little problemsome before NCAA's that was like, Texas could win. I remember talking to either Mitch or Carol, and they were like, you guys, like we had like the day after that came out, we had to be like, we're not going to win, guys. Like, don't like start freaking out. Like, just stick to what we're doing. But you know, it feels like feels like you guys are leveling up. And how do you feel like Mitch and Carol have fostered that environment this year?
Yeah, they have definitely helped us so much, and even like when we're like we'll have our own team meetings and we're very ambitious, and we'll go to them, we're like, guys, we're doing this, and they're like, okay. And they're the best. They never like put any sort of like pressure. Oh, we need to do this, we need to do this. Like they're so big. Like they said it the other day, they were like, we're gonna take care of our people, which is us, we're gonna take care of us, and like we're just like gonna focus on like I guess like ourselves and like everybody individually, and like getting everybody to like where they need to swim their best, and like just like put it all out there, you know, which I think is really good and really healthy. But yeah, aside from that too, what else? They're the best. They if you came to our team on any given day and you saw us doing one of our little activities that Mitch and Carol do for us, you'd be like, this is so weird. Like this is so.
At NC's, you guys had fish, right?
We had something.
Maybe that was just at a club meet in Austin. Maybe I'm confusing the two. You guys had fish at a meet, right?
There's been so many little things. Like, I could just give you an example. Like in Irvine, we just had Mitch and Chad because Carol was at Worlds, but they bought like this little like National Discovery little kids like gem tool kit where there was like a brick and we had a chisel, and we each took turns like getting the gems out of this kid's toy. And Mitch was like, you're gonna get this gem because you guys are all gems. And we're like, yes, we are. And so it's just stuff like that where it's silly, but everybody buys into it so much, which makes it work. Does that make sense? So it's just like if one person was like, this is dumb, like it'd be like, oh yeah. But it's just the fact that we're also willing to do fun stuff like that and like keep it light and laugh about it. Like, oh, remember when Mitch gave us all Kinder eggs and we had to tell everyone why the toy we got represents us?
What was your toy?
Wait, what was my toy? Oh, it was like a little transformer looking guy with a water gun. And I was like, this is a water bender guy, and he represents me because I am going to be a water bender tonight with my underwaters. I'm going to blow everyone away. That's what I said, something like that. But yeah,
That's awesome. I feel like that that signifies that's the power of a team, right? It's like you said, like this works because everyone's bought in, and you can have these moments of joy or silliness because everyone has each other's backs. And like you said, if someone was like, this is dumb, then like it wouldn't really work. But because everyone has that group vision, is in, then it does work.
yeah, for sure. It is really special. I like forget about it so much because, I mean, yeah, it's just kind of the culture that we've set, and like especially like now that I'm a senior, I'm like, wow, we have really come so far, and like all of the new incoming freshmen just got here this week, and it's like, oh, cool, like I get to lead them, and like they're gonna be in on all of these weird, fun things that we do, and they're gonna see that like we like it, and like we have a good time doing it, and so like yeah, they'll just get to see all of that, and it's awesome and great.
Yeah, so I think that's a great place to wrap up. You're heading into your senior season at Texas. Like you said, the new crop of freshmen are there. What do you think? What are you looking forward to this season, and how do you feel like? Obviously, they just got there, but
Yeah.
what excites you about these new incomers?
These new incomers, they're awesome, and they're so excited to be here. They're all hanging out yesterday, and I think they got here like Tuesday or Monday, and a few of them already were like, I love it here. I love you guys so much. And I'm like, that makes me so happy to hear that, like after just such a short amount of time. And I think it's gonna be a great year. I think it's gonna be just fine. Like after a day, I think the new freshmen, they're bought in, they're ready. Yeah, senior year is gonna be really fun. I'm gonna be really taking in some last few moments with my class. And everyone is already getting sad yesterday. I'm like, guys, no, we just got here. Please don't. Yeah.
What are there moments or events that you're most looking forward to in this upcoming season?
Mm-hmm.
Are there?
Yeah, I guess just, oh man, I just love the start of school. I love dual meets. We're doing our NC State Virginia dual meets again this year, and those have been a staple since we started doing them. We all look forward to that. It'll be interesting to see how our Texas invite goes. So we're doing that as well instead of Minnesota. So that'll be fun. And yeah, come March. Well, I'm not there yet. We'll see. Definitely excited, but gotta take it one step at a time. It's a long year.
Totally. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I'm sure I'll talk to you again before March. But Emma, thank you for taking the time to sit down and chat with us about your summer today. Any parting thoughts for our audience? Any words of wisdom or Mitch or Carolisms before we sign off today?
My biggest wisdom is follow your own path, and everyone's path is different, and it looks like everyone does the same. Not everyone does the same thing, but if it's like you miss a team, miss a junior team, miss a national team, I think the big picture there is to just use things like that to motivate you and catapult you forward into the next thing. So, yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I had a lot of fun, and you definitely heard it all. There's nothing I didn't share.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.